Joe Haley, there's one thing I'll say for you. You've done a good job. You know how to handle men, and you know how to keep the line moving.
Thanks, Mr. Brooks.
You work hard, Joe. You're a good foreman. Yes, women workers do present problems, Joe. It's tough, I know, but there are thousands of others, just like you all over the country, facing the same problems. Pretty generally, you'll all find about the same answers.
Well, I know most of the answers as far as the men are concerned.
Well, I think we can say that the broad principles involved in the supervision of men apply equally well in the case of women.
That ain't what I learned about women.
There are some new and different problems, Joe. I'll admit that.
Women scare me. At least, they do in a factory.
Well, maybe the women are scared too, Joe. Let's see.
What's up, everybody? Chef Henry Dudley, Chef Gang Podcast. Before we start, please take some time and go to YouTube, Chef Gang Radio, and subscribe to this channel. All right. Yo, I'm very happy about this episode today. Everybody, this is Chef Gang Podcast episode 3. We call it the She Chef edition.
Yes.
Man, guys, if y'all had smell-o-vision, you know what I'm saying, it smells like success and loyalty up in this bitch.
Hey, I know that's right. Cheers to that.
You know what I'm saying? And I know the ladies got a lot to say. Again, like I said, my name is Chef Henry Dudley. I'm swinging to my beautiful co-host, Chef Kimberly VanKline.
Hey, everybody. This has been long waited. We've been talking about this for a minute, so I'm glad to have the ladies speak up for a change. So we have guest Alexis, basket treats, bougie balloons, dessert junkies in the building.
Yeah.
Hey. We have the infamous TV chef, traveling chef, retreat, you name it, she does it, Chef Jamie G in the building.
Hey.
And we have our other bonus chef in the house. Miss Reese, who is known for her crab pies.
Hey.
Yes. So welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Yeah.
So what's up?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything, right?
Everything.
We also got my man, Chef Aaron, in the building.
Oh, yeah, we
Mr.
can't forget
Gadson's
that.
in the
Yeah,
building.
Mr. Gas. He's like, went right over
He's
here.
sitting there today. So listen, let's get to it. Before we really get to it, you know what I'm saying? It is March, 15th today? It's March 15th today. We just want to give a shout out to everybody. You know, there's a lot going on in the world today with this coronavirus hitting the United States. So just make sure you stay safe, love on your families, and number one priority is be healthy out there. All right. So this episode is kind of near and dear to my heart for a number of reasons, but for the most part, you know, as you can see, I'm not a she chef, right? However, throughout my travels and throughout my career, I've come across a lot of female chefs. And when I listen to some of the stories that you guys had just in common conversation, there's a lot of things that I didn't know that was going on, a lot of things I haven't seen because I haven't had that same experience. You understand what I'm saying? I don't have issues with females in the kitchen and all that other stuff. Two of my mentors in the industry were female chefs. You know, my grandmother, female, my mother, female. So I've always been nurtured by women cooking in my life, and I've always been mentored by women cooking in my life. So some of the horror stories or issues that I have heard about, I haven't experienced, or maybe I haven't seen those things. So the first question I want to ask is, each of you lady chefs, where'd you start? How'd you get into this industry? Like, what was it that made you want to be a chef?
You want to start? Who wants to go first?
So the question is, how'd you get started? What made you want to be a chef?
Well, I am your traditional dessert chef. I got started 11 years ago. I was a stay-at-home mom because my daughter was born at 1 pound 4 ounces, and I was just tired of just being at home. So I decided to do something different, and that's when I started baking. That's when Basket Treats by Alexis Streets was developed in 2009.
So when you started, what kind of did you have any struggles based off the fact that you were a female trying to break into the business?
Yeah, pretty much. For the most part, it's very competitive out here. Not so much for women against one another, but for some reason, I feel that a lot of male chefs counterparts tend to shun us away because I feel it's a little intimidation because we have a certain eye for certain things that they might not have, and vice versa. But we don't. I feel that we don't get the shot that most male chefs get. If I'm saying that correctly.
Mm-hmm. Chef Jamie, how you feel about that?
So, I feel a couple ways. The first thing is getting back to your original question. I started cooking. I've been cooking since I was 9 years old. And I just used to find stuff around the house. And I learned to cook from my father, which is kind of unusual because most people learn from their mom. But I got into real life catering because in college my house was the party house, so everybody came to my house and ate, and I cooked everything. And we used to go, and I'm not gonna say steal. I'm not gonna say steal, but we used to borrow things from the grocery store. We used to borrow things from the grocery store. I mean, we were college students, and we used to cook everything. And they loaned it. And they loaned it to. And I had paid them triple back by now the amount of stuff I buy, but. But people started saying, like, why don't you do this for a living? Like, why aren't you doing this? Like, why are you just doing it for us? I mean, it's cool, but why aren't you doing it? But I think getting to her point is that it's unusual. I think when men cook, people are like, oh, a man who can cook. Most people were nurtured by their mother through cooking, nurtured by their grandmother through cooking. So I think there's a little bit of dismissiveness, like, well, that's what you're supposed to do. But it's different on a professional level. Right. So it's like, oh, well, you're a woman, of course you can cook something. You know, of course you cook for your kids, of course you whatever. But then when they see that switch, like, yeah, I can cook, but I can run this whole kitchen. Mm-hmm. But I can also take what you cooked up a notch because, like you said, I see things in a different light. I want to see things beautiful. You know, women, we care about our makeup, our hair, our this, our that. We want to make our kids look pretty, and we look at food that same way. We're like, ooh, it needs to be elevated just a little bit more. So I think that's where the transition.
I've always felt like women in the kitchen, from my experiences working with them and working for them, you know what I mean? I'm proud to say I've worked for a number of great female chefs. Their eye is different. The attention to detail is different. You know, me and Kim have conversations. She's seen me through the years and going into different restaurant situations. Like, anytime I get a female chef to apply for a job, I'm always like, come here, sit down. Because, and you know, the reason is because, you know, I always look at it from a standpoint of they're going to always want to make everything that much better. Mm-hmm. They're going to always, the kitchen's always going to be that much cleaner. And if she has the right, you know, presence and so forth and so on, like, everybody's going to respect her.
We as women, we eat with our eyes also.
Right. Oh, everybody. Yeah.
I can't put anything up to my mouth if it's not beautiful.
Right.
It has to be beautiful before I can put it to my mouth.
Cool.
I didn't want to pause, but I'm glad you did. But it was a pause.
All right, so I started cooking when I was like, probably as early as 4 years old. My grandmother was like, when I say the bomb, like, we were the house, something like your house, and it was where you came to eat, and fellowship, and be with the family, and you know, I grew up on Sunday dinners every single Sunday, like soul food, like we grew up like that, like literally, like food all on the table, everybody sitting there having a good time, and I remember, I told a story probably in the last episode that I could see this white lady in my living room on the wall, and I was like, what is this? Who is this? And this was actually the lady that she used to work for. And she was a British actress, you know, by the name of Margot Graham. She traveled the world with her. So even though she could cook Southern cooking, she could cook French cooking because she traveled so much. But my grandmother, like, I feel like that was, you know, she was born to cook. Like, nothing she ever made did not taste good. It was to the point where my grandfather had breakfast every single morning, a lunch bag, brown paper bag, ready to go to work. And when he came home, we had dinner. And so, you know, at the age of like 4 and 5, I'm helping her out in the kitchen. And I'm helping her, and what's this and what's that. So, I mean, I was probably cooking full meals by age 11.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's funny because, like you said, we are very detail oriented, and you know, everything has to be pretty and it has to look a certain way. You know, we're always trying to put that extra finesse on it and stuff like that. And I think where men, it's an issue because I always say this: we cook from love.
Yeah.
They cook from ego.
I wouldn't call it ego. I would call it survival.
I was gonna say functionality.
We go functionality, survival mode.
Okay.
Our ego comes into play because we have to be very, very competitive with each other.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, one of Anthony Bourdain's quotes he always said, I'm a fanatic. That's my dude, just so you know. He said, this industry breeds assholes. It does. You know, from some say so. You in order to work, and men and women, in order to work in this industry, you have to have a certain degree of asshole in you.
Yeah.
Because you have to walk around, you have to be guarded, you have to make sure, because everybody is like, yo, I can do it better than him or her, and I can't wait to take their spot.
And especially if you have people that work for you.
Right.
Yeah, that's what comes into play.
So
that's another topic.
I ain't gonna front. The first female, I want to quote unquote executive chef that I've ever experienced in my life. I was a kid, and it was, what's the lady? Julia Childs.
Oh, here we go.
You know what I'm saying? That's the first time I've ever really seen someone, whether male or female, on TV really kind of putting things together and so forth and so on. She had the weird voice and all that crazy shit, but I respected that. Then fast forward, you have the Leah Chasers. That pretty much put her whole stamp on Louisiana and New Orleans and Creole food and what have you. Fast forward to today, and again, I speak from a very restaurant, corporate-centric vision because that's where I came through. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm glad we have different people from different, we got caterers and Swiss Army knives and, home cooks and real estate agents and, you know what I'm saying? I don't see a lot of female executive chefs or chefs, for the most part, in professional kitchens anymore. Like, they're going away. And I see them more transcending into food trucks and catering businesses. And
so they're doing their own thing.
Right. They're doing their own thing a little bit more than, the standard professional path.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question about that, though. Is that happening because... So what I wonder is it that the younger or newer female chefs that are entering the business are just finding a way to do it on their own, or do you think that female executive chefs are being filtered out?
Well, that's the question. That's the question I'm asking. I can't say that they're being filtered out, or maybe so. The ones I see now are. It's a character thing. Either they have to be they're a little bit more harder and more driven. And do you understand what I'm saying? A lot of female chefs I see are representative of the LGBTQ community. Don't see a lot of, especially Black African American female chefs running kitchens. I see them more doing their own thing.
And in general, like, there's so much, the entrepreneurial thing,
right,
in cooking and real estate and whatever is so big. So we just kind of, I feel like a lot of females probably come to it like, yeah, I can do this. I'll just, all right, forget it. I'll just do this, this, and this, and kind of making our own rules, you know?
Finding creative ways to still get success and run your family and run your businesses.
And then people talk about doing side hustles and all.
So is that trying to balance? Is that having issues within the professional realm?
I think it's still a very real thing. I think it's a very, very real thing right now to, first of all, be an executive chef as a woman. So let's say if the percentage is 30 just for that, then you add the Black on top of that. Now we talking about 10%. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a very real racist and also sexist industry of, like, one thing I always say, Aaron knows, I'm like, can't nobody cry in this kitchen. I'm a woman. If I don't cry, you can't cry. You know what I mean? But they feel like men and people in the industry in general, just like when it comes to running this country, they feel like we're gonna fall apart. If I shed a tear, that means I'm about to go harder. That don't mean I'm about to fall apart.